Okay, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Now, looking at this title right here, it says fifth grader describes deadly Minnesota school shooting, right? And that right there is why this world has to be done away with. This age, this rulership, it gotta go. Fifth grader describes deadly Minnesota school shooting, man.
I'm sandwiched between the two generations.
Probably grab like 2 more videos or 1 more, and grab some scriptures.
I'm helping to give caregiver responsibilities to my dad and then my son.
We want to now go to just a little bit ago. Fox 9 was able to speak to a 5th grader who was inside the school at the time and heard and saw the shooting take place. Let's show you that sound from this brave little 5th grader speaking to the media. Let's listen in.
Doing when this happened?
Well, we just got into mass. It was like 3 minutes after. It was very scary. It was like my friend got shot in the back.
He said they just got into mass, right? In which this wasn't, it wasn't a normal school. It was like a church and a school, right? So, that lets you know that the Lord's not dealing with these churches, dog. He ultimately he's not dealing with none of these, other idols, obviously. But how many church shootings have there been? Right? Here it is. Y'all supposed to be in the Lord's house, quote unquote, but it's getting shut up. That church not where it's at.
He's in the hospital right now. It was super scary because we've never practiced it in the church. We've only practiced it in the main school. So we really didn't know what to do. We just got into the pews and he shot through the stained glass windows. Yeah.
And did you ever see him?
My friend ran, someone helped him run out. He saw him. He was wearing all black and he had a ski mask on.
So it just shot through the windows and never came inside?
I don't think so. I was down, so I didn't really look up. He shot through the stained glass windows, so they're probably ruined. And
But do you have friends that got hit by bullets?
yeah, my best friend did.
See,
It is happening no other place on the planet, bro, but America. That's why this place got to be burnt to the ground, man. Made a desert. America gonna be that example for these other nations, man.
you heard what happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was laying on top of me, making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And you have a nick on your neck?
Yeah, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from during this.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just confused kinda, cause I never thought it would happen and it just happened. So just kind of crazy. And I don't really know.
Yes, so it's terrible to hear that from the 5th grader. Hearing that he had a friend seen get shot and just saw the carnage play out just in those pews of the church connected to the school. I want to give you a live look right now at just some of law enforcement continuing to be right outside of the scene. They'll be there all night and into the day tomorrow as they continue to process this scene. And just heard from the fifth grader, still trying to process everything that he saw that happened. It was a normal church service, and then, of course, shots rang out, and then it was just pure madness from there on out. I do want to.
What is Acorns? The financial wellness app that.
So that's one. Probably watch this one as well. Yeah.
We're also learning more information about the suspected gunman. As you also see this, a post from Brooke Taylor here saying sources confirmed to Fox the Minneapolis shooter has been identified as a 23-year-old Robin Westman. According to court docs, at 17 years old, Robert Westman formerly had his legal name changed to Robin because docs state the minor child identifies as female and wants her name to reflect the identification. The applicant.
Weirdos, dog. Bro had his name changed at 17 because he wanted to be a female. Another reason this place gotta go. Why was he able to do that?
Application for the name change of a minor was filed by the mother, and a court granted the request in 2020. And we're getting new images right now of that Robin Westman obtained by Fox here on Live and Now from Fox as we're learning more information about this. The police chief in Minnesota.
The Lord really got jokes, man. You can't tell me the Lord don't have a sense of humor, bro. I know brothers say that all the time, but you can't tell us the Lord don't have a sense of humor. Look at this dude. Does he not look like so-called Jesus that they were about to pray to before it got shut up? Boy, the Lord funny, boy.
Brian O'Hara said there was a manifesto potentially on YouTube. They are looking into that. Investigators are trying to dive into that. There is no motive at this point. At the last update, they did say they obtained several warrants to look into some of the residences of this individual. We also heard from our Fox 9 team that this individual, Robin Westman's mother, may have worked at this Catholic school in recent years. So obviously a lot of potential connections there. So new information coming in about this after this tragic shooting earlier on today. 2 young kids killed, 17 others injured. Of course, those 2 victims that were fatally wounded. We do not know the identities of those 2 kids, but you can only imagine what the family, that community is going through tonight as they're dealing with this loss just in the first week of school as they were attending a mass when those guns rang out, those shots rang out there. All right, I'm Andy Mack here on Live Now from Fox. Let's slide away for a quick 2-minute break. Of course, we'll have all of those vigils, the somber moments. We're expecting to hear from the Archbishop of the Minneapolis St. Paul Diocese there, Hempstead, of course, Hebda, to make remarks a little bit later on tonight. We'll take you out to that. But for now, let's slide away for a quick 2-minute break.
All right, so you know this is just the world we live in, right? School shootings are the norm, you know, but this the world Jake want to stay in too. Children can't even go to school without worried about getting shot, bro. You ought to realize how crazy that is, and that's why the Lord needs to return. Gotta return. It's gonna return. Right, to do away with this wickedness, to cleanse the earth. This is Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he hath no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him? You know, and a gin being like a trap. Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai hath not done it? Right, so all of these are what? They're rhetorical questions, meaning we know the answer, right? And the answer is no. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Right, so if you're about to take the left path and someone's about to take the right path, can y'all walk together? No. Right? So, shall there be evil in the city and the Lord hath not done it? The answer is no. Because we know what? The Lord brought that judgment. And ultimately that's all this was. It was judgment from the Lord. But that's still, sad to see that this is the world we live in, where the Lord has to bring judgment like that on the regular. Right? But that's what happens when what? Just Job chapter 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So that's what happened that's what happens when the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You have school shootings, every other month. You have people dying 24/7. People getting kidnapped 24/7. Right? And that's already happening now. Imagine when that time of trouble kicks in, right? So that's why now, while we have this grace period, is to get right with the Lord. But this, as I was saying, this is what life is going to be like when the world is given into the hands of the wicked. It's the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Right? So the Lord has to return to do away with it. Right? To wipe it clean. You ever seen like a diamond or a crystal, right? When they take it out of the dirt, right now, that's what the earth is right now. It's that diamond with all the dirt and the rocks and stuff on it. The Lord has to return to clean it. And we know it can only be cleansed, with the blood of those. What is that? Numbers 35. Right, Numbers chapter 35 verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Right, so the Lord has to return and bring this judgment. He has to return and slay, who's ever meant to be slayed. But this is just how it is when the wicked rules. Let's see, second Esdras. Oh. Second Esdras chapter 6, we start at verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Salakia, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? And most people today, they don't want this world to end. Right? But this world needs to end in order for righteousness to dwell. Because when Jacob, Israel, when we come into power, when the Lord, comes back and sets up our kingdom to be that highest mountain, right? Ultimately, the only mountain, right? It's not only going to be something good for us, but the whole world, right? Because it's going to be righteous. You won't have to worry about your child going to school and possibly not coming back. Right? Your child going to play outside and possibly not coming back. Your mom going to the grocery store and possibly not coming back. You're not going to have to worry about none of that. So Salakia for that interruption. But, picking up where we left off, I'll just reread verse 9 once more. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? So it's going to be the opposite. Right now, the wicked rules this world. right? And that's why you have a video on YouTube titled "Fifth Grader," speaking about mass shooting in his school. But when Jacob rules, when Israel is set in power, when the Lord brings us out of this low state, there will be no worries ultimately. You won't have niggas able to grab a gun and go shoot up, whoever they feel like it on a whim. Right, so let's go to Isaiah. This is Isaiah chapter 2. We can start at verse 1. It says the Most High's universal reign. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Right, because this was a vision, a prophecy. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Right, well, that mountain going into like a government and establishment, which being Israel. Right, we're going to be established as that number one authority, and ultimately the only one, right? And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it, right? And why are all nations going to flow unto it, right? They're going to be, bringing their gifts and whatnot, but also what we're about to read in verse 3. And many shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to the house of the God of Jacob, right? And everyone's going to know the name, right? It won't be no calling on other idols in the kingdom. And why is that? Well, we're finna read it. To the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, from Jerusalem. Right? Well, because Jerusalem being that, that capital, that main city. But we're going to enforce the laws. That's going to be the way of life on the earth in the kingdom. Right? The way of righteousness, not the way that leads to mass shootings. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. Right? In which, the modern sword is what? A gun. And their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Right? So you're not going to have all of this war in the kingdom. Right? All of this death. It says they're beating their weapons for war into weapons for like farming, signifying that peace. That can't happen with the wicked and rule. That can't happen if the Lord doesn't return. Well, let's get to 2 Peter chapter 3. Start at verse 12. Looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Salakia, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right, so this is what we're looking forward to. This is what's coming. Wherein dwelleth righteousness, wherein dwelleth peace, wherein dwelleth no worries. Mainly for the Israel. Right, but the other nations are gonna, be able to enjoy the kingdom of heaven too, just not on the level we are. Starting with the Lord's elect, of course. Lord willing, we be of that number. But even the Israelites on this side who don't make it, they're going to be reborn into the kingdom. And that really goes to show the mercy of the Lord. After all of that, after the countless lifetimes y'all done lived and going off disrespecting the Lord, or the iniquity, right? Because we reincarnate, right? Reincarnation, and the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets, right? So if you were a prophet in your past life, you're going to be a prophet now. If you were a sinner in your past life, you're going to be a sinner now, right? So all those past times, all of that, throughout the history of the world, the Lord still found mercy to have you reborn in the kingdom of heaven. Not only that, but you're reborn, being made perfect. Right? So, Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Al-Shai. That's the mercy that the Lord shows, but people still can't even call on the right names. It's crazy, right? But continuing, I don't even know where I left off. It's like, yeah. Right. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right? Not dwelleth mass shootings. The terrorist attacks. No, none of that. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Right? And ultimately, that's going to be his elect, found without spot, found blameless. And no one knows if they're of the elect. So that's why as we just read, be diligent. Your diligence to make your calling and election sure. Right? They know we can't be perfect, but we're trying our best to walk in the ways of Yahweh Shai. Right? Walk in the ways of our righteous forefathers, so that we be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Right? You can't be found that way if you're not calling on the correct names. Yahweh Shai, he was that sacrifice to cover for our sins, to do away with the penalty, to give us a way back to the Father. But that's what Yahweh Shai did. Buddha didn't do that. Allah didn't do that. Jesus Christ didn't do that. No, Yahweh Shai did it. Right? So we give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So, I want to close out on this, touching more on how the kingdom of heaven will be a place of, righteousness, peace, no worrying. It'll just be amazing, man. You just imagine waking up and not having to worry, bro. Not being woken up by your alarm. So you have to get up and get ready for work. Right? You waking up to the birds chirping and ooh. I can't wait, dog. Well, it's like this is Ezekiel chapter 37, we started at verse 24. The Davidic kingdom. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. Right? But yeah, because you're gonna have the hierarchy, Yahweh, the Most High, then the heavenly, the Savior, Salakia, Yahweh Shai, and King David. King David is going to be that. We'll just read it. It's going to let us know. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. Right? He's going to be the one here with us, over Israel. And they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. Right? And ultimately, we know this is speaking of, Israel. But as we just read in Isaiah, the laws of the Lord is going to be the law in the kingdom. So break it if you want to, right? And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. Right? And you know this. We know this is only speaking of Israel, but what? Through Israel ruling, you know, in righteousness, the other heathen nations are gonna, you know, they're gonna be able to enjoy their life too. Like I said before, just not at the level we at. Right? Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. Right? Not a covenant of mass shootings. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yeah, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Alright, so this is what we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to being perfect. Having the perfect kingdom, the perfect world. But that doesn't come until, you know, the Lord returns and bring this world down. You know, and we know that can't come until other prophecies play out. You know, we're going to need that mark of the beast to hit, martial law to hit. Right, so you know, with that being said, Lord willing, this video was edifying or informative in some way, shape, or form. Once more, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect.